is Eric Martin with BoardGameGeek. I'm here with James Johnson from Holy Grail Games.
Hi there, thanks for having me on.
We're looking at Rising 5 by Gary Kim and Evan Song.
That's the one.
Published
if he doesn't knock it all over.
That's right. Published by Holy Grail. It's a co-publication now with Mandu Games,
That's
which
the
is
one.
a Korean company.
And of course illustrated by Vincent Dupre.
That's right. That sort of goes without saying when you look at it. I mean, he's got a very distinct style.
You know, he's only just starting out in the industry, but you know, he'll get there one day.
So, we were giving a short overview of the game here, and we have an app that is integrated into this cooperative deduction
Cooperative adventure puzzle game, we like to call it.
Okay.
We're assisted by an app, whereas you as the adventurers, you'll take care of the adventure, and the app will take care of the puzzle.
Okay.
So it's a game for 1 to 5 players, so there is a solo mode. It is app assisted, however, there is a manual mode, which requires a game master, but if you really don't have an app, or you don't like the idea of using an app, you can do it manually.
That's right.
Which is slightly less fun in my opinion, but for those who want to, it is in there.
It is possible.
After that, the app uses the camera, as I'll show you in a bit. However, there is also a manual mode for those who have a device without a camera, which I think is pretty rare, but just in case we put it in.
Okay.
So there you go.
All right.
So, to start off, I'll show you how the app works. So, while it's booting up, there's a quick demo, a quick intro, a bit of music, a bit of animations, gives you a quick backstep.
No,
so background, but we can skip that.
I'm skipping
because you have there, you have me, so you don't need it.
Anyway,
so, first of all we have to do is take a photo of the runes. They don't have to be set up in any particular fashion. You just whack them out as you wish. You take a photo with the app, like so. Put it down, and that will give us some astrological symbols.
Okay.
Here they go. So, these relate to these signs. Each rune is related to a symbol.
Okay.
Now, when this shows up like this, black symbols mean that the rune is incorrect. It shouldn't be there.
Oh.
Silver symbols mean that the rune is correct, but it is not in the right position. And golden symbols, which will show up like so, when they're correct anyway, are the right rune in the right position. Okay. And the object of the game is to find the 4 runes and get them in the right place. So to do that, we're going to incarnate, shall we say, a group of colourful, talented and especially deniable individuals called the Rising 5. And we're going to explore this world, fighting monsters, finding artifacts, getting help from different inhabitants of the world in order to move the runes around. We can then ask the app again to give us an update. It will tell us which runes have changed, which runes are correct or wrong, and through the power of deduction, we'll be able to determine which ones are which, and as soon as we get them all right, we win the game. Okay. However, we have to do that before we run out of action cards, or before this, the red moon tracker, gets to the bottom.
Okay. All right.
Whew.
That is a stunning overview.
Oh, and it takes a lot of breath.
A little more detail on what we are actually doing with these.
So, basically, it revolves around character cards. Each player starts with a certain amount of cards. Okay. So these are all the same, because I haven't shuffled this deck enough. I just got it out of the box, so my apologies. So each character has their own card, and every player plays all the characters. That is the principle. So I'll just get these 3 out to show. You have a hand of cards, and during your turn, you can play a character. 1 card equals 1 action, but if you have multiple cards, you can play multiple actions.
Okay.
Before you do anything with your character, once you've decided who you're going to activate and how many cards you're going to play, each of them has a passive ability. Echo can move another character to anyone on the board. Nova can get a free attack on a monster. Ellie, this obviously you can see a nice face. Ellie moves this up, so she's very important. She moves up by 1, not by that much.
Okay. Just in time.
Exactly. She saved more than 1 game during this convention, I can guarantee you that. Hal, he's incredibly practical because he can copy the ability of any other character in his zone. Okay. And then Oracle is the only one that's obligatory because he's the only one that can switch runes around or switch them out.
Okay.
Once you've done their passive, an action is either to move anywhere on the board, or to interact with a card, or to open the gates. To open the gates, you need to acquire power, which is represented, I hope you can see it on the camera, by these 4 pedestals. Every time you get one of these green cubes on a card, you touch the app, and you can light them up. We do have a manual version, which is little green cubes, which are in the box. And once you have 4, you can take another photo, as it were, of the runes once they've swapped round, and it gives you an update. So I'll show you just for sake. Swap these 2 round, swap these round, swap this, well, keep it like that. So once we have the 4 gems, you swipe down, you take another photo, like so, and then it'll give you an update. Okay.
So now, and you were using these tokens merely to start to associate them with
exactly. So normally you would put the runes there. So, for example, this rune has appeared, but another one has disappeared.
Yes.
So the rune that we moved out is therefore correct, so we need to put it back in.
Right, that's right. There's purple in here.
Yeah, example. So we now know purple is correct, so we take that symbol and we would, action cards, and we would probably put the runes. Well, they're around here somewhere anyway.
Yeah, we've kind of mixed them up.
Yeah, just, they're all over the place. But here they are, perfect, so there we go. So we can now put that next to purple, so we know purple is right, but it's not in the right place yet. And then you have to do that for all the runes.
Purple was the one that we removed.
Actually,
it was a different token.
When these kind of confusing moments come along, and they will, because it does get a little bit cerebral, there is actually a recap mode on the app. Okay. So you can say, okay, so it's purple that we did remove.
Right.
So green is no good, because we can see the symbol that came in, which was the baboon. So green is baboon, it's wrong. Purple is the mage. He's right, but not in the right place.
Okay.
And that's what the app helps us to do, and you can get that at any time. Okay. So, however, to ask you another question, you need these resources, which you get through interacting through cards. You have monsters in the game, which are, sorry, let's take these cards away, there we go. Which are these cards with a strength value. When you attack them, you roll a dice. As long as you equal or beat their strength, you defeat them and gain the reward. Okay. So, the strength, the reward, and the red moon value. Now, the red moon value relates to this. If you roll this during the attack, you instantly fail, and this goes down a number of spaces equal to the red moons on the card. Okay. This is a weak monster army that has one, but stronger ones have more. So you can lose quite a few if you're not careful. There are stronger monsters, of course, in the deck of 2, 3, 4, and 5. However, this dice has 2 1s, a 2, a 3, and a 4. So how do you beat Strength 5 monsters? Through cooperation, the magic of friendship. So when there's more than one character in the zone attacking a monster, that gives you +1. Okay. However, say I'm playing Howl to attack this guy, you can then also play Howl cards in your hand to give me +1 per card. Okay. Cooperation once again. Okay. And that allows you, therefore, to beat the stronger monsters, which can get very, very strong indeed. Okay. But they give you bigger rewards. So these are helpers. These are monsters you don't need to attack. They're friendly. They give you some resources, either a cube or move this up 1. And these are wisdom helpers, as we call them. These allows you to ask the app a question. So once you use them, you can ask the app to tell you which rune is related to which symbol. It won't tell you if the symbol is correct, but it will let you know which is which. Okay. So if you already have a rough idea of which runes are there and which symbols are on there, you can narrow your choices down. Okay. Simple as. And I will add at this moment that there's a lot of people that say that board games with apps eat your battery. This one is very, very light on battery. Just want to get that out there. Okay. And there you go. So the game ends when we either get to the bottom of here and die, or we run out of cards, run out of time, and die. Now, these red sun cards we also mix into this deck. Now, at the end of your turn, you must draw 1 card, but you can also draw up to your hand size maximum, which differs depending on the number of players. Okay. These will be hidden in the deck, and if you draw them, this drops down a number of spaces equal to the monsters on the board, or the red moons rather, on their cards. Stronger monsters have more red moons. It can de-escalate very quickly. Okay. So there you go.
All right, with a little push your luck there.
That's the one. And then finally, we missed this one out, but there's artifacts as well. These are one-use cards that have various different abilities, and these are legendary artifacts that you can get through defeating boss monsters. Okay. And that's it. I think we've covered 90% of the game we can start playing. All right. There you go.
Very good. Thanks very much, Jamie.
My pleasure.
Overview of Rising 5, which is, I believe, going to be at Spiel?
We will be at Spiel demoing it, and the Kickstarter will start just after Spiel normally, just before Spiel, the 20th of September, but don't hold me to that. It may change, you never know.
Yes. But we got a good overview of the game now.
I hope so.